I saw Nick Foles and the Eagles play the other day. They played the Cleveland Browns. And Nick Foles really struggled. He had 2 interceptions. He lost a fumble. Only had 127 yards passing. It was an ugly, ugly game. Doug Peterson, the Eagles head coach, even said, look, it was really disappointing. I want to ask you, what's my rule about the preseason? I always say this. If a player does well, don't read into it. That's because players, especially quarterbacks, are supposed to do well in the preseason. The preseason is set up, especially for quarterbacks, to be successful. There's a term called vanilla defenses. You might have heard it. You might not know what it means. Vanilla defenses are simplified defenses. They're not complicated. It's when a team runs their base defense, no weird blitzes, no weird moves from the safety. It's not a complicated defense. And another benefit, the reason why that helps quarterbacks, it's simple. And teams aren't scheming for a team. No one's game planning for a preseason game. So if you have a really talented player, a defense isn't planning a way to stop them. They're just running their defense the best they can. So it's set up for you to succeed. If you're a quarterback, you should do well in the NFL preseason. It's set up for you to succeed. See, the NFL preseason is kind of like arm wrestling a 6-year-old. I've been on this for 2 weeks. You're supposed to do well. If you don't do well, it's a worry. But if you do well, it's the expectation. So again, if a player struggles in the preseason, it's very telling. So Eagles fans are probably mad hearing this. But look, Nick Foles appears to be coming back down to earth. Nick Foles, he's deflating. We're learning what he really is. Love it or hate it, that's the truth. Why was Nick Foles such a great story last year? Why was it so good? Why was Nick Foles' story so impressive? Because Nick Foles' success was unexpected. Nobody could have seen that happening. Nick Foles came out of nowhere. He defied all expectations and won a Super Bowl. Nick Foles was a Super Bowl MVP. It was awesome. It was surprising. But that level of play is not the norm for Nick Foles. Nick Foles, here's the history of Nick Foles. He has 1 good year in Philadelphia under Chip Kelly. Then he has a bunch of years as a journeyman, as a backup. And then he has 2 good games in Philadelphia last year in the postseason. He had a good game against the Vikings and a good game against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And the Falcons in the playoffs, he struggled. He didn't look good. He looked ugly at the end of last season when he filled in for Carson Wentz. What's the reality of Nick Foles? The reality of Nick Foles, the majority of his career is not great. See, this time last year, I remember very vividly because I was back at college again. In August last year, we had a solar eclipse. You might remember it. It was August or September, one of the two. I remember being on campus when it happened, though. The moon went in front of the sun. It got colder. It got darker for like 10, 15 minutes. I remember it was darker. It was colder. I didn't need sunglasses anymore. It was very weird. But that's not the norm. A solar eclipse is not what normally happens with the sun. Normally, the moon isn't blocking the sun. And if you said that, oh, this is how it always is, you'd be wrong because guess what? That's a weird occurrence. It only happens like 1 every 30 years. It's not the norm. A solar eclipse is not the norm. Nick Foles, the way he played in the postseason last year was a solar eclipse. It's not how he normally plays. It was a weird occurrence that doesn't normally happen. For most of Nick Foles' career, he's been average to below average. That's what Nick Foles is. Nick Foles is a backup quarterback. You might hate that, you might love that, but that's the truth. Look, there's a reason everybody around Nick Foles last year got promoted. Every member of that staff that worked with Nick Foles that helped him win a Super Bowl, John DeFilippo, the quarterback coach last year for the Eagles, he got promoted. He's now the Vikings offensive coordinator. Frank Reich, the Eagles offensive coordinator last year, he got promoted. He's now the Indianapolis Colts head coach. Everybody around Nick Foles got promoted. Why? Why did that happen? That's because people around the NFL realized how incredible it was they got so much out of Nick Foles. I like Nick Foles. Nick Foles is a great story. He's not a great quarterback. He's a backup. He's average to below average. He's just not a great quarterback. I know he's really popular. He's one of the top jersey sales guys in the NFL. That's awesome. That's exciting. But slow down. Lower your expectations about Nick Foles because he's not a great quarterback. He's good. He's had good moments. He's solid. He's a solid backup. But he's not a superstar quarterback. That's why he didn't go anywhere this offseason. You know why? I hate to say it, but he's a backup. That's what he is. That's what his role is. So lower your expectations about Nick Foles. I know this isn't popular. This might make you angry, but that's just the honest truth. The way Foles played last year in the postseason was an anomaly. It wasn't the way he normally plays. We saw that in the preseason. We saw that the other day against the Browns when everything was set up for him to succeed. I know they're missing players, but who cares? The defenses were vanilla. He's not playing against great players. He should have done well, and he didn't. He looked ugly. How do you explain two interceptions, a fumble? It's not good. That's not good. I don't care who you are. That's not how you play. So I think Nick Foles, look, I know it's one preseason game, but it's still pretty telling to me. That's who Nick Foles is. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This is my show, Strong Opinion Sports. My name is Zach Schaumler, and this is just my passion. I love it. If you like Strong Opinion Sports as much as I do, you can share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about the show. And if you're new to Strong Opinion Sports, you can subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube, as well as shorter little breakouts like this one you just watched. So again, share it, subscribe to it. It's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys, and have a great day.